We got another game, guys, with the white pieces. We're rated 11-12. They're rated 10-51. Batrick Eterna. We're playing the reverse Sicilian, English, whatever. We go 1c4, they go e5. We go g3, they bring out the knight, king's knight, defending central squares. We develop our bishop, and they push d5. We'll take, they'll take. We develop a minor piece toward the center, offering further trades. Okay, so a pair of knights was traded. His king knight for my queen knight. Now my queen knight doesn't defend my king, but his king knight does defend his king. So I'm happy to see that trade. He brings out the bishop and prepares castling. Fine. I'm going to develop my knight with a threat, so he can't castle. He develops his knight and defends the pawn. That makes sense. We could castle. What other moves might we have? Maybe rook b1 is a consideration. That way he can't bring his bishop out in one turn. So maybe we do that before castling. It might be a higher priority. So let's increase the power, the number of squares we control. Castling doesn't do that. And so that in order to develop the bishop and not lose the pawn, he decides to do this, but this severely weakens the light square diagonal, and his knight's undefended on this turn. If he has time to fianchetto and then defend that bishop, then he's fine. Like, he'll be fine here, but this is actually a mistake because my bishop is looking this way, the knight's undefended, and the knight defends this pawn. So if I take the pawn and he takes my knight and I take his rook, I'm up almost like basically an exchange. And then if he goes bishop here hitting my rook, I can go check, evacuating my bishop and then moving my rook. So it works for me. So I'm going to take that. And I'm going to take this. Now let's say he goes here and I didn't have that resource and I went back and he takes the rook. How bad is that? I'd have a rook and two bishops. Wait, I'd be down a piece though. Yeah. So he does find this, but I thought oh, he has the knight defending. I don't have this resource. Whoops. Okay, so let's recalculate. What just happened? Yeah, this he just takes. And then I move my rook, and I'm up 1 point of material, which is kind of funny. I also have queen check, which might change something somewhere. So let's throw in the queen check, developing another piece, very active. And now he brings back the bishop. Yeah, what's happening? Hits my queen instead of the rook. I still can't go here. And my bishop's hanging. But now I can take this and defend my bishop, right? And what can he do? If he hits my queen, I can take it. So this defends my bishop. Now, even if I lost the bishop, I mean, I wouldn't want to lose the bishop, but I would still be fine. But I don't want to be fine, I want to be winning. So he castles, re-threatening my bishop. And if I evacuate my bishop, my queen is not stuck because he can't put a rook here. He can only put a queen here. So I'm just going to bring my bishop back to its home where it belongs. Now it just looks down the whole diagonal. He actually can't put anything here. Bishop covers it, which means my queen is safe, but I don't want it here. Although it doesn't have these squares, so I have to evacuate through one of these squares, which is weird. Also, I have this resource. Trades are good for me since I'm up, and it also lets me get my queen out and act like a replacement dark square bishop. So he re-threatens my rook. But now that it's not double threats, it's no big deal. Doing something like e4 is a mistake, just structurally. We can just move our rook, it's not a big deal. If we go here, we hit the knight. This or this never works because this pawn hangs. He could defend the knight, but my rook's still eyeing some stuff, and then if I kick the knight, the bishop might be hanging. So let's move our rook to its most active location on the board, double hitting 2 minors. And I'm up 4 points of material, so I can give some material back later if I'm feeling nice / blundering. And I don't know if he can save both. Let's see. He moves the knight, which was under attack. What does this threaten? This is hit twice but defended twice. It prevents this. Drawback. Is this bishop hanging? Then he goes here. Then I castle. Takes, rook takes, queen takes, rook over, queen takes, and I think I'm fine there. So I'm just going to take the free piece. This is kind of clever because if you take the piece, maybe he throws in check. You move your king over. Maybe he checkmates you. So this is actually a cool move. But I'm not going to take because you can't. And castling defends the bishop so you don't lose it. Otherwise, I would have had to think of a different plan. Okay, he doesn't see it. It's above his pay grade. He moves his rook over to a semi-open file, eyeing my king. I do want a castle to get to complete safety. I do have other options like this, which should definitely tilt him. I also have options like this, which should definitely tilt him. That way, when I castle, I don't have to worry about this pawn, even though I'm up 7 points of material. Also, it undefends this pawn, so it's a little more tender. So all these observations, right? For example, this move hits the knight and the tender spot, but he can go here defending the tender spot, countering. So if I kick it, he might do that anyway, but I'm fine with that because it blocks his pieces. And where would I put my rook? I don't really know. Maybe I should get my queen back in the game. That looks like something. Or maybe I should start with this. That way he can't drop his thing back. I have a lot of options. I could just castle. Maybe I should just castle. This is good for me. I'm just going to castle. I don't know why I'm thinking of other moves. This is definitely the best move. Practically speaking, not engine speaking. So what? You want him to take this. So he goes out of the way, opens up the rook, opens up the bishop. We could try a sneak attack on the knight and the bishop. Interesting. We could also take the bishop with the rook. He takes, then we sneak attack the queen. He doesn't want to lose the queen. I'm just going to take, I don't like where my rook is placed. Like, it doesn't have any weird stuff where, like, places to go. So if he moves his knight there, I mean, it's not trapped, but it's just in a weird spot. So I really like giving it up for the bishop, followed by the second minor piece, or the queen if he misses it. Oh no, your knight's attacked. What are you gonna do? You should definitely move it. Come on, Batrick. Eterna. Come on, buddy. Send me on to my next game, Batrick. He does see it. He moves the queen. Good job. Threaten some pawns. No one cares. You can have all of my pawns, sir. And also this, I can take this. He takes the other pawn. Doesn't threaten anything. And I have a really cute move here, which I'm going to play, and that's developing my bishop and cutting off the coordination. Now his queen is stuck to light squares, which is kind of funny. I probably should have just taken the pawn, just more efficient and also coordinating on this square with the queen. But I'm a sucker for troll moves that just infuriate the opponent. He should probably just take, but I'll get my queen back in the game finally. Because what's it doing on a7? That's the question. Well, how did it get there? Why did I put it there? I don't remember, but he doesn't move his queen. He moves his rook. Maybe he's trying to coordinate. Maybe put a rook here. I'm not going to take. Even if I did take, it's not checkmate. Whatever, right? Also, he has back rank issues, so that's pretty hilarious. So I'm just going to take the free pawn. It comes with the threat on the rook and back rank if he doesn't see it. And Patrick will resign shortly. Surely. Okay, so he goes in for no threat, right? If he takes, I take. No big deal. Also, he evacuates the back rank. So I check him. He has to go all the way back. And then we checkmate him. Do we get the ding? Do we get the checkmate? We get the ding. Okay. New opponent. We keep climbing. 11-17. This is the first person we're playing Jamro 98 above 1200. 1220. They're coming with the London setup. Bishop f4, move 2. Me, c5, move 2. I want to challenge their structure that they're used to getting in their bishop and their London opening. This little pawn triangle. I'm going to break it down so they get confused, right? So they play c3, which supports the pawn. But this allows me to really put more pressure on the dark squares. So let's say I go queen b6, attacking the pawn, which is undefended because you moved your bishop out so early. He ignores the threat and plays e3, just continuing with the London setup. You know how they say when you play the London, you always play the same moves? Unless your opponent is attacking stuff, right? Like you can't just play the moves. So this is a problem, and it loses the game because if you don't want to lose your rook, you move your knight. But if you move your knight, you also lose this pawn. Move the rook over to attack. My queen escapes. No big deal. So I'm just going to take it. And this is me trying to punish black for bringing his bishop out so early. That's why queen b6. It's like you go this way, I go that way, right? So he doesn't want to lose his rook. That makes sense. Do I have a stronger move? I don't. This looks good enough. Second pawn. Maybe he can get one back. Okay, he doesn't attack my queen. He develops a piece. That's pretty wise. If I jump my knight in and then he attacks my queen, I kind of want to keep the diagonal. If I go all the way back though, he can take with the rook. Oh no, he can't because my knight's there. Okay, so I could develop a second piece, but then when he brings his rook over, I want to go here first because it defends this pawn. It also comes with pressure and threats. I also do want to develop another piece and prepare castling. That would be smart. This knight also looks deadly to bring in. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'm gonna move the same piece twice. I'm not gonna prepare castling. I'm gonna run into tempo moves. I don't know what's happening. I'm breaking all my rules. But I'm gonna go queen a5, maintaining this pin, which has pressure. And if I can get my bishop in on that pressure, that would be sweet, because his bishop's on the other side of his pawns, can't help him. So he develops a piece, attacks my beautiful knight. Why would you do that? That's rude. Um, I don't really, I mean, I don't really know. I could let him take, I could just go d5 and take this way. I could take his knight and either repin the other one or queen trade because I'm up 2 pawns. I could hit the queen, which has to go to one of these squares. That's awkward. And then I can take another pawn, but that looks a little bit greedy. I already have 2 pawns. And once the knight moves, then this stuff comes. So let me just do a tempo move. Okay, so he repins the other knight. Now this pawn is hanging. So maybe I should address that and capture and lose my queen and my bishop. So that would be terrible. I think I'm going to develop the knight and cut off the contact between the rook and the bishop because I don't want to fall into anything. Also, his knight can't hit my queen yet because it's pinned. I think he should just have castled so he has a big lead in development since I wasted so much time with my queen. Well, what are you going to do? I think I'm going to hit the bishop with tempo because even though it ruins my structure a little bit, normally maybe you'll play something like e6 going for d5, having a nice pawn structure. When you go e5, it creates some holes here, but it comes with tempo and it threatens this pawn, and I want this time in this tempo to speed up my development to try to catch up since he has 3 minor pieces out already, a rook in the game, because that would take away his compensation basically. I'm just going to take this pawn. Now I'm back up again, 2 pawns. I developed another piece. I'm ready to castle like him. I still don't have to worry about any knight jumps yet till he castles. I also have other moves like this, but easily avoidable. Okay, so now his knight's free to jump because he castled. And for example, I move my queen. This is double hit. So I need to reorganize my pieces. My bishop's in like a wrong spot, but I only moved it here to take the pawn. My queen's also in a weird spot. I'd rather even have it back home. I could move this with tempo. That seems logical. He can counter tempo me, and that's annoying, so never mind. So maybe I should. You can't just get your queen out of dodge because then your bishop hangs. So I need to basically get my bishop out of dodge and then my queen out of dodge. Okay, so he hits the queen, threatens a pawn. That's fine. I could take another pawn. How greedy is this? How greedy is this? Here. It's quite greedy. What about this move? What am I walking into there? E4, queen e6. If he moves the bishop, I'll queen trade. Yeah, let's centralize it. I don't really see how he hits my queen. If I can get to... Okay, so he does do this. It's just a 1-move threat, and it blocks his bishop's diagonal, so I'm not a fan. It also gives this square for my knight, so it's probably a very strategically but not the best. And also I have this good square for my queen, probably. So everything looks fine except my clock. I don't think he punished me for grabbing those two pawns because I got my queen back in time. I didn't run into any trouble, which is what you have to worry about when you do stuff like that. You may have to make sure your queen's not getting trapped, first of all. And then you have to make sure, like, you have to become familiar with the trapping ideas. There are a few. And then you have to see if you have the time. If his leading development's gonna really put you under a lot of pressure. Okay, so he develops his queen. It looks kind of natural, but it walks into this, right? So it can't be good. Doing this undefends my central pawn, but that's fine because it comes with a much stronger tempo threat that he has to address. If his queen goes to the wrong square, I have these ideas. His bishop is here for now, but I can lure it away. And this bishop, even though some may think it's passive, it's doing a lot of work, controls a lot of squares. This guy, maybe you think he's active, but it's quite the opposite, because after I do something like f6, it's not going to be doing anything. So he moves his queen over, controls this diagonal, gets a little closer, brings a third attacker. Interesting. Also eyes this. I can easily defend my pawn though with another, not with this pawn because it's pinned, but I could just go d6. Okay, it blocks my bishop a little bit, but there's nothing over here of mine or my enemies. It supports this, so that doesn't matter how many minor pieces, unless he's going to sack one, you can't overcome a pawn defense. And it opens up the light square coordination, so I have queen trades. And as I mention it, he goes for the sack. This isn't a thing because it's defended. And now I'm going to take, because I have to take the piece. He takes back. What does this threaten? My knight as well as the g-pawn. Normally, if let's say you move your knight and lose the g-pawn, who cares? You know what I mean? You move the rook over. Well, maybe he takes with the queen there. But then maybe you have like f6. I don't know. You'll probably be fine if you let him take this pawn. But there's no reason to do that. Bishop f6 protects both, I think. I don't see any tactics for him, except maybe this. So bishop f6, bishop hits my queen and the f pawn. Bishop goes back. That should be fine. So let's see what he does. You see, by pushing this pawn, you see if he was back one, my knight couldn't be here and his queen would coordinate. So if I castled, it would have been a checkmate in one. He finds this, which is kind of crazy. But I just step back, I open up some space for my bishop, and I defend this pawn twice. He has no more pieces to bring in the game, no knights, which are tricky. And there's still this idea looming, deflection ideas. I'm actually ready to castle now, because my king is totally safe, even with his queen here. Also, I'm threatening his bishop, so he has to react. So he takes. I'm just going to take. It's the most obvious response. Defends the knight, protects the pawn. And he'll probably put a rook here, but I'll castle. Yeah, he does. I'll castle. Maybe he'll do this. I mean, disconnecting with the knight. That's interesting. Then I can offer a queen trade, which frees the knight. This guy listening to me? What's happening? Get out of my head. Okay, so now I'm up a clean knight. That's it. Put my bishop here. Trade the rooks. Be up a piece. Trade everything, basically, and be up a piece. So, the game is over. He has no ideas. He can't infiltrate. He can't even go here. He's all out of luck. So he just defends his central pawn that's in my position. Fine. Downside, offers me a very good trade. Bishop on this open board definitely moves a lot quicker than my knight. But now I'm forcing the trade, and I'll have the only bishop. So he does this, but this makes no sense because you don't pick up my knight. So you just, like, if you just move your rook, we would have traded pieces, a knight for a bishop. Now I just win a bishop. I'm going to take with the king. He probably wanted this check. So just to frustrate the heck out of him, I move my king where there's no check. Maybe he'll rage quit. Oh, there's a check. I'm blind. I'm just going to go up. It's totally safe. I mean, even if it's not, I don't care. He has 40 seconds, and I don't believe in him. The end. Now I'm hanging a bunch of stuff, but I have a checkmate in 2, so I'm kind of just going to hope he falls into that. That's 1. Go for the queen. You can do it. You can do it. Ah, he saw it. This guy's too smart for me. We don't need to do that, do we? Let's just do it. We'll take the pawn. He has no counterplay. We just gave up a piece, but he's been giving up us pieces all game. Get the knight out of danger. Any check he gives us, we throw a pawn there. And now we can bring in another rook. I only have 20 seconds though, so it's less than ideal, but we've been here before. Is this a move? Of course it's a move. Why wouldn't it be a move? And I sacked another piece. Now I sacked both my pieces. I'm up 3 pawns. And that's that. And now I just gave him a bunch of checks. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to lose on time. If I just trade the rooks, I can pre-move the entire game. Oh, I went the wrong way. Oh, wait. No, I can't perpetual me. Never mind. I was going to go behind the rook, but the other way. Little pre-moves. There's no way he wants to trade the rooks. Oops. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just making random moves at this point. This is so bad. This is called panic chess. Ah. Oh, no. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Stalemate formation. See? Oh my god. Okay, so that just happened. But hey, what are you gonna do? Gotta lose sometime, right? That was my first loss on the board and on time. Very nice. Congratulations. You just extended our speedrun unnecessarily. But, okay. I should move faster. That's my fault. Don't ever do that. I don't play bullet or blitz. You should, though, for situations like this. Alright. On to the next video. A little faster. Goodbye.